And we're coming to you live from the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Wednesday morning. We got some good, we got some bad, and we got some anticipation today, of course, as we inch closer to the 2024 NFL football season. But the New York Mets do it again last night. Francisco Lindor does it again last night, and they now are 11 games over 500. They have won 6 in a row. They are just about as hot as they have been at any point in the season. And, of course, now we are in September. So I mentioned that this was probably the most surprising Mets team outside of 2015 so far for me. But when I listened to Evan yesterday, and I was listening to the station a lot yesterday. I listened to Evan yesterday. He opens up at 2 o'clock. He goes, now the Mets have to make the playoffs. And then I hear C-Mac this morning. But the Mets, now that they're here, they have to make the playoffs. And my question to them is, or what? Like, you think about if the Yankees don't make, like, a run in the postseason, Aaron Boone gets fired. If the Jets have a terrible season, Rob Sala's gone. Joe Douglas is probably gone. Aaron Rodgers probably retires. If the Mets don't make the playoffs, Carlos Mendoza is going to be here. David Stearns is going to be here. The core players are going to be here. And Pete Alonso is really the only question. So don't tell me they have to make the playoffs or what. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
I'm doing good, G. You know, they do have to make the playoffs. Really, come on.
What do you mean?
They can't drag us along like this and make us feel this good right now at this moment and not make the playoffs.
Or what happens, though?
You know
There's
what?
no consequence.
Nothing's going to happen, but it would remind me of 2007, like where they were on fire, then all of a sudden they collapsed. I mean, now all of a sudden they're playing great baseball, and
what was 2006? Remember what happened in 2006? They won the division, they went to the NLCS, and they lost in 7. They came back with tremendous expectations in 2007 and led the division for almost the entire year. You can't make a comparison between that team and this team. I know. Basically went to an offseason and said, we don't really care about winning this year.
The only reason I'm bringing that up is because that's when I started here, and we lived through that. We lived every single day through that.
I did too. I lived it too, man. I know. Not a good comparison. This season was a throwaway season.
No. I mean, it's a good comparison because, I think at the beginning of this year, everybody was talking about trading Pete Alonso, and Francisco Lindor got off to a terrible start, and this one stinks. That one sucks. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of that guy. And now all of a sudden you see what their pitching staff has done, their starting pitching staff in particular, has done, and how well they have done, and how many innings they have given you, and compared to what they had here last year, and all of a sudden this team has caught fire. So, and they're catching fire. I'd like to think at the right time, maybe a little bit too early.
But peaking too early spot.
I hope not. I hope not, man. I hope that they ride this thing out and they keep just riding this wave. And maybe Francisco is making now a legitimate case for MVP of the National League because, as Buck Showalter did point out, and Jerry played yesterday, he plays the most important position in baseball. And here we've gone from what a waste of a contract to now a potential MVP season for the New York Mets. And, Shohei Ohtani, while he's having a tremendous year with the Dodgers, he doesn't play the field. And Francisco Lindor just doesn't miss games. He's out there. He's the defensive leader. He's an offensive leader. By all accounts, he's a leader now in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And this is all the things that, Buck Showalter was pointing out for us lay people here that don't realize just how important Lindor actually has been in the overall scope of their success. So,
the writers, they tongue bathe Ohtani. They love Ohtani.
Yeah, but this is New York versus L.A., man. This could be a war between the New York baseball writers and the L.A. baseball writers.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, it'll never. They love Ohtani so much.
How many baseball writers are between San Diego, the Padres, the Angels, and the Dodgers, with the Mets and the Yankees here? Who's got more overall writers?
Oh, definitely the Mets and the Yankees.
Oh, then Lindor's going to win.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And I don't really care if he wins the MVP or not. I'm just thrilled at the fact that he has turned into the guy that Steve Cohen traded for and paid.
And paid. Yeah.
I mean,
that's a win.
That's what makes me happy with this organization. Some of these other things and accolades would be great for him, but it really doesn't mean much in the long run. But I just, the fact that things were as low as they were, and I remember there was a couple of instances during the season where we talked about the pitcher, to forget his name, who threw his glove into the stands and basically said the Mets were the worst team in baseball. And then shortly after that, the Mets had played the Guardians in a series. And Francisco Lindor was asked, what's the thing you missed most about Cleveland? And he said, winning.
Yes.
And things just felt rock bottom at that point for the Mets as an organization. And Francisco Lindor didn't quit. He didn't become one of these guys in the clubhouse that was a negative influence. He turned into even a better leader than he was in years past. And I think that's easier to do when Scherzer and Verlander aren't around. And he's putting together a spectacular season. Now, David Stern says it might be the best season by a Mets position player ever. Now, we can go through and look at that stuff if you want.
I don't want to get through. I don't want to
But the point is,
I'm not going into the weeds all that
The point is that the guy's been phenomenal. I think there's one season I want to look at. Can I look at one season?
Yeah, go ahead. Want to look at one season? What?
2000 Mike Piazza.
Okay, Mike.
Because I felt like he should have won the MVP that
right.
year, and Jeff Kent did. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that?
I remember that.
Remember that? And I was like, Jeff Kent.
From the Giants.
Yeah.
Former Met.
Mm-hmm. So 2000. Yeah, I mean even 99 he was tremendous. Yeah, so he was MVP. So 2000 he had a better shot. He was voted third for the MVP, Piazza, that year.
What were his numbers?
His numbers?
Yeah.
He had 38 homers.
Yep.
113 RBIs.
Yep.
He hit 324.
Well,
with an OPS over 1,000.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And he was a catcher, for God's sakes.
Right. So hey,
catcher. Yeah.
There was no DH.
There was no DH.
He had to play, baby. He's like Francisco Lindor. You got to play. You got to be out there.
Yeah.
Has Francisco Lindor? Does he get any days off?
No. I mean, when he's healthy, he plays.
Right.
What happens?
Just go play baseball.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to do.
I mean, in an era where we criticize a lot of these load management things and guys taking games off and weeks off for what seems to be minor injuries, he's the opposite. Iron Man. He's our Iron Man.
He's our Cal Ripken.
He's our Cal Ripken.
And then same position.
Yeah, and then on the other side of things, will the Yankees finally make a move with Clay Holmes as the closer? Because they have, and we've cited many examples over the last number of years of the Yankees waiting too long to make a decision on a player, whether it be Gary Sanchez, whether it be Gleyber Torres, whether it be DJ LeMahieu this year, whoever it may be. They wait too long. And Clay Holmes with another blown save last night. Aaron Boone didn't say he's our closer. He didn't give that definitive, we're not making a move. I really do think that you're going to see a change there as the closer after what happened last night. You can't have it. You can't be a team that wants to win the World Series and have the guy who's blown the most saves in baseball as your closer.
I agree.
Can't do it.
I agree. And, Boone is he's just not going to throw Clay Holmes under the bus. I mean, Clay Holmes can do that for himself.
Yeah.
Much like many other players who have come down the pipe, whether it be Edwin Diaz, his, second year here?
Well, his first year here. Yeah.
I mean, my God. I mean,
worst season I've ever seen from a reliever.
Right. So we talk about Lindor having the best season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that may have been the worst season ever.
Yeah, it really, and also just the pressure on that particular deal and the fact that Brody Van Wagenen took on that massive contract with Robinson Cano and then traded away the number one prospect, and Diaz was supposed to be,
and he turned out to be
the crown jewel.
Right?
No, but he did. But I mean, at that time,
but even
like
I would say like Diaz despite some blow-ups in recent weeks, has turned the corner and I would say for the most part lived up to his contract. But I would also say that for Francisco Lindor, it took a while to get going, to get comfortable, and now all of a sudden, look at what he's doing. So this is the guy that was the winning shortstop in Cleveland. So, it's interesting. Do you think after last night's game, has the MVP odds, have they changed at all? You think they're going to still stay the way they are?
I think they're going to still stay the way they are, man. I'm telling you, it's just one of those things. I love Ohtani so much. They can't get enough of him.
But he's not pitching this year.
I understand.
And he's not playing the field. Are we discounting defense?
I don't.
Or are they just going to look at, the impact that he has had on a great Dodger team that's loaded when they're healthy?
Yeah, let's see. MVP. I have to look these up because I don't think with FanDuel in New York, if it's something that's voted on by a human, you can't bet on it. You understand what I'm saying?
I get it, but you understand where to go. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I'm not seeing a change, by the way.
You're not seeing a change
from yesterday.
So where does Lindor sit on that list? Third, second,
second. It's Ohtani minus 5,000, meaning you'd have to put up $5,000 to win $100, and Lindor plus 900, which means if you put up $100 and he wins, you win 900. So it's massive odds in Ohtani's favor right now.
I would say if the Mets make it to the playoffs, maybe Philadelphia collapses here.
That'd be something,
maybe
right?
They're turning to collapse.
Yeah, I mean that would be something.
But if they
18 years later,
if they get to the playoffs and they win a round, I know the playoffs don't have anything to do with the MVP voting. It's just for the regular season. But if they win the playoffs, if they go to the playoffs, Carlos Mendoza has got to be in the running for manager of the year.
Yeah, I brought that up yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, and Lindor has got to be a serious candidate for MVP. Although I agree with you. I think that there's just going to be such a bias because of Ohtani.
Yeah, they love him, and they want him to be it's such an all-time player in these MVPs that he racks up.
So let me ask you this question. If he goes, Eddie just said in my ear, if he goes 50-50, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases, it's never been done. But he doesn't play the field. He doesn't play half the game. He sits on his ass, for 4 hours.
Yeah, but you're right.
We're discounting how important a shortstop is.
But his numbers
to the
are
game
so
of baseball.
much better that offensively.
The offensive numbers are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you the defensive numbers that Lindor is putting up just absolutely obliterate Ohtani.
Yeah,
Can we look at the total baseball player or no?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, you can.
I don't know what you're doing.
Well, I'm just, I don't.
Eddie, Mr. 50-50 over there, but 50-50, but maybe it's because
I'm with
he
you,
doesn't have to play a field.
I'm with you. I think Lindor is the MVP.
Well,
you're also talking about a team in L.A. Now, they've had some injuries, but they have an insane roster.
Yes,
ridiculous.
I know that.
Whereas the Mets, who have a very high payroll, don't really have all that impressive of a roster. So Lindor's importance to that team is then magnified. So I'm with you. Listen, if he ends up winning the MVP, great. But
we are looking at offensive numbers only. That's all we're looking at. If I were only looking at offensive numbers, I'd say, yeah, of course, Shohei Ohtani. Yes, and all my Dodger fan friends.
You got a lot of those?
Drew Kaliski.
Oh, he's a Dodger. That's right. I knew that.
Huge Dodger fan.
I knew that.
Ohtani this, Ohtani that, blah, 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 blah. Listen, he doesn't play defense.
Not this year, he doesn't.
He's not playing. Yeah, if he's pitching and doing this,
then
I'm like, I'm not arguing that. I didn't argue that last year.
Sure. Well, he was hurt last year at the end.
Or 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. Wasn't it 2 years ago?
Yeah. I still think he won it last year, too.
Yeah, but I'm not arguing that. When he's doing both, it's a different story.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's only doing one thing. And it's offense, not one thing. He's stealing bases and hitting home runs, and he's driving in runs, and he's got a nice average.
Mm-hmm.
It's all great offensive numbers.
Yeah,
no problem with that.
But
Lindor's got to go out there and play every inning at shortstop.
He's got to be a Met, which just carries this tremendous burden on you.
And he's got to be a Met too. That's that's, if you take that into account,
it's true.
It is. It's like you have to be a Jet to really truly understand what you're dealing with.
Exactly. Like there's certain franchises when you come in, they could swallow you up.
I got swallowed up.
Yeah.
Yep.
You did.
I did. I didn't realize it at the time.
It was just the black hole of that organization.
Mm-hmm.
You went there thinking it was one thing, and then they did the little bait and switcheroo on you.
That's why I always talk about stability when it comes to professional sports teams. You need stability. You need a solid GM. You got to have a solid owner. You got to have a solid coach. And then the culture is built. when you keep changing coaches
Yeah.
and firing guys, and it's a turnstile, in the locker room.
Yeah.
That's not a way to win.
You believe this Mets season is a culture building year?
Yeah.
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 Feels like it, doesn't it?
I think David Stearns.
Yeah, David Stearns and Carlos Mendoza.
How long have we been talking about David Stearns?
Probably 2.5 years, 3 years.
At least, right?
Yeah.
Like when he got moved to something in Milwaukee that didn't seem like it was real.
Yeah, they changed his title. It wasn't the general manager. He was sort of like a guy who oversaw the department, and everybody knew he was a Mets fan. And Steve Cohen was
he like an advisor to the owner?
I forget, but
it's usually what happens.
And everybody knew he was a Mets fan, and Steve Cohen was told by people this is a guy you got to hire. And yeah, I mean, we kind of, it was like an arranged marriage. It was going to happen at some point.
Eventually, it was going to happen.
Yeah, and so far, so good.
Yeah, it didn't start out great.
Surprising the hell out of me.
He's been changing and burning and churning and trying to bring guys in here. He's hit on some, man, especially in the starting position.
Exactly.
Pitcher.
Yeah. You say starting pissing position?
Whatever. I'm a little tired this morning.
I get it. I understand. What'd you do yesterday? Stayed up late?
I did. I was watching the Yankee disaster.
Man. Your body doesn't just shut down. When
I can't help it. Listen, man, we're back in it now, man.
No, I know.
And my brain was going because of another blown save. And I was just thinking about all the Yankee fans that I have as friends and how miserable they were going to be today and how they're going to be screaming and yelling about Clay Holmes.
Well, yeah.
That's what I was thinking about, and I'm not even a Yankee fan.
As they should.
I'm a New Yorker.
I mean, they should.
I root for New York teams except for one.
Yeah, right.
Well, actually, two.
Yeah.
Well, three if you count New Jersey.
Okay. Understood. But, yeah, I mean, I think every Yankee fan should be completely tired of the Clay Holmes situation now.
Annoyed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very annoyed.
I would be.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't get much sleep.
You toss it and turn and thinking about Clay Holmes and how it was affecting your Yankee fan friends?
Yeah. Aaron Judge woke me up. He's screaming at me.
I will say that last night was a miserable tossing and turning night's sleep for me as well. I have no idea why. It might have something to do with this stupid fantasy football thing I'm doing today and how I don't want to screw it up. And I haven't been in like 5.
Why don't you just do an auto draft?
Because you can't, man. You're in the league now. There's expectations.
So
he's a sports guy. He's gonna.
So is it more wide receiver focused or running back focused?
Well, it's always running back focused, but where I'm picking it's going to be wide receiver focused.
What's that?
Yeah. So where I'm picking is probably going to be more wide receiver focused.
What number? Nobody really cares.
Yeah.
I've learned this, but I'm just
You're
saying.
asking the questions.
I know, but I just want to know. I just want to know what your draft pick is. What number are you picking?
8. Yep.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
No, I think Justin Jefferson will be there. Yep. The starting pissing position and the wide receiver position. Very, very important.
Yes.